Hey guys, it's Woody. It's the end of the season. We're going to go through the last matchup of the year a little bit, and then also do a little touch on kind of the overall season results. Might have a couple of people jumping in at points, so I will share the ability to jump in, have your say. I'll pull up the screen for now, and we'll quickly touch on some of the team stats. So. If you want, feel free to jump in and say what your thoughts have been for this match and throughout the season. And yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it. So I'll add. We're gonna add share screen. Oh, New Balance. I don't know your real name. I'm gonna call you New Balance. So we are going to share. We're going to share the screen now. We've got match results there. It's not. Sorry, give me a second. Wasn't loading match results. So there we go. We've got the match results there. We will go through them in a bit more clarity in a second, but we're going to start on the team results. Lost the disposals across the board. Won the inside 50s for the first time in a while. We didn't use the ball as well as we could have. Started out very strong there, 80% in the first quarter. And then, yeah, disposal efficiency. We actually went better than the Giants in that last quarter. It's a little bit of a shame we didn't get it done. We lost the clearances. It came down to center clearances in that sort of third and last quarter. And yeah, that's kind of where we lost it. Overall possession was pretty close. We did do pretty well on the inside until that last quarter. We was just behind on outside the whole match. And then we turned it over more in the last quarter than the Giants as well. Overall possession, a little bit against us. That last quarter really went against us. They just beat us across the board there. And then, yeah, marks, we just couldn't quite get it done. They got a fair few marks inside 50. This is one of the better results we've had all year for contested marks. I think it's second off the top of my dome. And then defensive side of things, we lost the tackles, did really well tackles inside 50. Got a few bounces at the end. Double check if Naz actually ended up getting that record or not. But let's just see what else are in here. We've got a message here. I want you to give us the rundown on Boxall. I reckon this bloke's upside is massive. Good in the air, smart mover of the ball, 19-year-old, 10 games. What position do you think he'll end up in? It's a good question. I actually think Boxall is firming as a midfielder. I generally liked what he showed at the start of the year. And I think what he's been able to do across the back half of the season, particularly aerially, as you mentioned, has a lot of upside. I would be essentially running him as kind of a steal replacement longer term. He's getting defensively kind of what you want in some regards. He's not always getting a lot of tackles, but he's getting it in the air and he's able to use his body well. So I quite like what I've seen from him. Let's go to season averages and quickly, let's maybe not go to season averages because it'll be harder to find. Let's go to Boxall and quickly pull up his year's results. So 11 total games, 188 centimeters, taller side. Pretty good. I mean, his top 16 disposals, I think he's hit that a couple of times. Marks 7. He would have been very close today. And then, yeah, tackles 8, clearances 4. Look, let's just quickly pull up his 22-5 season. Just have a quick look at some of his stats. 16, yeah, he's gotten that a couple of times in a row. Let's just keep this round by round, actually, so we've got a bit of a better idea on progression. 7 marks last week. It hasn't updated with this week's stats, so I do think we'll get a bit of an improvement across the board. But look, he's looking amazing. Hugh Boxall could be quite a diamond in the rough. I think we've done really well in the last 2 or so years of using the sort of back end of our draft picks well, between Boxall, potentially Patrick Sade. I mean, maybe Ari, if he sticks around. He's obviously got some skills there. There's a lot that could be, good long term. We've done well in the back end of the draft. I'm going to be honest, if there is somebody that we would need to move a first on for, I'd be doing it. I think we're at the time now where it is worth investing in right now. And look, you could maybe do one more crack at the draft, but next year is the year that I would expect us to just not be in the top 10 for draft picks. So if that is the case, look, we might be able to get one more kid today or kid this year. But I think it's almost worth sending it on if we can get in more experience that will still develop. Because obviously you don't want to use first-round draft picks just on people that are only around for a couple of years, no matter how good they are. And we'll kind of hopefully get something done there. But that's a bit of a conjecture and hearsay. In terms of today, Collard was huge. It did hurt, though. It was a frustrating last 10 or so minutes there. And the less said about the umpires, the better in a lot of regards. Just not great in that last 10 or so minutes. Another one is Leclerc. Look, he looks like he could be at us next year, and I didn't mind him today. He was pretty reasonable. If we stick back to Saints players or current Saints players, let's go down the list. And I want to start with my man of the match, Darcy Wilson. 5 goals, 2 goal assists, 23 odd disposals. Oh my Lord. If this man plays like this at half forward all next year, we're going to be very well set with Max, him, potentially others. I've had discussions. I really do think there's a potential to move Sinclair forward next year. I like our movement of halfback. Obviously, Naz and Sinclair have been great over the journey, but I think about how a lot of teams use new players. We are looking at getting Fincher. That seems to be pretty locked in at this point. As much as Jev might be an awesome get, he might go a little bit too high for us, so he might not make it to us. Unfortunately, he might still. So we'll see. But we will be getting Fincher. Fincher's a good halfback player, a little bit of ability to go through the middle. And with that, I'd like to see Sinclair up forward. He's clearly very good with ball in hand. Likewise with Max Hall. We've seen what Naz can do when he gets a couple opportunities forward. Between them and Darcy Wilson, I think there's a lot of scope to be moving the ball inside 50 better than we ever have. And yeah, I think we could put Fincher straight into that halfback role. I didn't think Travalia was amazing today, but if he keeps developing, that could be one that it could be a spot for him there. So yeah, I'm very excited longer term. Oh, thank you very much, Will. Just thank you so much. It's always weird. I've never really got into this sort of stuff for any sort of monetary returns. It is lovely because I do spend a lot of time in it, but I'd be doing that anyway. I just like KILDA. I look at numbers a lot. It's just how I do. Thank you, though. And we do have our first person in here to kind of chat, right? So I will chuck the link back in chat again for anybody else that wants to join us at some point, but we will open up the floor for the first person in here. I'm going to remove this and we're going to get Jake on. How you doing today, Jake?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just wrapping up the review. Very positive, as you know.
Yeah, it's been mentioned, like it sucks that we lost that, all that sort of jazz, but I think of the future after today. I'm barely even taking into account what's happened today. It's great, the positives that we saw, but that's maybe what we see more of in the future, and that's what I'm really excited by. What were your kind of favorite moments of today, mate?
Favorite moments. Geez, that slingshot from, I don't know who kicked it to Naz, Sinks to Naz to Wilson, who then ran into the open goal. Probably that was my highlight, I reckon. Usually we stuff up like one bit of that passage. We get like 90% of it right, and then it's a dodgy handball or a dump kick and no composure, but that's as good as it gets. That's
it, mate. Honestly, yeah, that's probably up there. The one that was jumping out to me was, and it might just be because I love this player, but I was at Tequila.
Tequila,
I love it. That's got to be a thing. We got to get sombrero hats so that like anytime Keela gets one, everybody just starts going like ole ole, something like that. But yeah, no, I liked it when I thought he flew initially for the Crummy goal, right? But when looking back on it, I was almost more impressed that he didn't, because he recognised that going up is just not going to be helpful. he's not going to win the mark, stayed down front and square, ready to jump on it, and pounced and got a goal. So, I mean, I love seeing a big man that doesn't look like they move like a big man. As much as and one of my other favorite moments was Rowan Marshall chasing down, I think it was Darcy Burns or something.
Yeah, I mentioned that in my review. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. Anytime a ruckman's kind of sprinting full tilt, that is definitely one of my favorite moments. Yes, Will. So Collard did steal one of Keeler's potential goals there, but and look, that was great as well. Keeler did really well there. But no, I was talking about the one he actually got at the end of the day. I did like that he stayed down. He used his football nous. You know, it's one of the things we've had an issue with this year. Just are the guys picking the right option at the right time? And I mean, there's been issues, but today was pretty dang good. Pretty dang good.
It's all confidence. It's all confidence with some of these young boys. Like, I think even, you know, take aside that it's an AFL environment, but even in just general sport, like if I play in a new team or, you know, you get your first go at something, and whether it's a job or whatever, you're nervous, you're trying to understand what you're operating with around you, the skill set of everyone else, if they trust you, if you trust them, that sort of thing. So I felt like today, most of the young boys, they trusted each other. Like Windy would trust Boxall to do something. Boxall would trust Wilson to finish the job. They would all trust Naz, obviously. And it wasn't just get the ball to Naz and let him do everything, which was nice. No. You know, as much as I wanted him to get the 3 votes, which he won't, and he didn't have his best game today, other players stood up in his absence. It wasn't the Naz show or bust, which was nice.
Yeah, and I think that's been in some regards a worry, right? Because you don't want to be too predictable with ball movement. And obviously Naz is amazing, and he manages to get himself out of some tricky situations almost with ease, right? But it is one of those situations that the more you can put players in simpler positions to do the right thing, the more likely you're going to see the right thing. So, look, it wasn't his game in terms of getting the 3 votes. It's going to go to Green, unfortunately, and I reckon Darcy Wilson probably gets 2. Geez, my dog is going nuts. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't his day. He didn't get the votes. He didn't get the records that we wanted. But I think that, as you said, bodes well. He had a few clearances there. He honestly, and one of the things I think is most important about keeping Naz is the development that you see from the other players that we have currently in Boxall, in Garcia, in these players. I mean, they must be getting so much more by seeing what Naz can do on a day-to-day basis and kind of learning what's possible. Like, you learn from superstars. You learn from the people around you. And when you've got one of the best players in the game, like, just there to teach you what to do because they innately know what to do, I mean, I think it's a great thing long term. I'll sound out the Latino hubby on a tequila chant.
Oh God, we need Cardi to jump on it and make some merch.
Yeah, fully. Cardi'd be all over that. I'll shoot him a message after
Surely.
this, see if he can organise something. But no, honestly, there's things to be upset about. Obviously, we didn't get the win. Like, it's not been a perfect game in a lot of regards, but I mean, it's been a much improved year. I'll quickly pull up the stats so we can see the end of years here, and I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit because that is just bloody so big. Can I do? Is it options? I can't remember how to do it on a Mac. Oh, we'll figure it out in a second. I think it's down here actually. There we go. So, in terms of Naz, this is total years. I feel like we can look at totals at the moment. Just an amazing year from him. 29 disposals with 5 odd marks a game, 2 tackles, 3 odd clearances. You wonder how many of them are from centre. In fact, we probably check. So let's have a quick look at the season average. Naz getting 1.6 from centre is insane considering he's spent maybe half of the year in the guts. Like,
yeah, that's amazing. Look at the other players there. Rowe,
yep,
McRae, Steele, High. pretty much all just in the guts whenever they
I
play.
like to
Whereas
see that
Naz is kind of
Garcia's doing
that's
quite
pretty good.
well there as
1.5.
well. And I think Naz is leading. Oh, no, not quite. So this is one thing I don't like: score launches and score involvements. Hit outs to advantage count as a score launch and therefore a score involvement. So you get quite a big number from your ruckman. But even being close to that is amazing.
What was the free kick count in the last quarter? Out of curiosity, specifically the last quarter.
I don't think I didn't save it myself. I think it was 7-1 from memory on the from a post, but I'm not certain on that. And I noticed the Reddit because I checked the Reddit post match review thing where all the fans jump on. So they say, like, here, come jump on. I'll quickly grab the thing. So if you want to come say your thoughts, feel free. But yeah, I was checking the Reddit and they've removed the ability to question the umpires. So it's a little bit frustrating for me. I would have thought half of the comments would have been out about how shocking that was, but there just wasn't much. The Reddit moderators aren't letting a lot through on that regard. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you had a look around on X, there'd be a bunch of stuff there going through it. That's where I find the most dogged fans tend to be.
That's where they hide.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, let's quickly look at some other little stats from the year. I don't think disposal efficiency means a lot, but yeah, seeing Wilkes up there is no surprise.
No.
To see Caminiti though with Jack Sinclair, it is a bit of a surprise to me. Likewise with Toby
as well.
Travalia.
Yeah.
Taru also,
even though he's handed a few goals over his journey, but he'll learn. Even Zachy Jones, who everyone loves to pot shot his kicking, but
I think Jack
Naz wouldn't be there because he bites off a lot.
He does, and Naz, in terms, we could look at turnovers and things like that, but I've found it amazing that he's sitting up there with Windhager, a bit below Rowe, Steele, and McRae. For contested possessions, because I mean, early in the year, I think he was getting about 3 or 4. Toby, can you stop making so much noise, buddy? And then uncontested possessions, he's still like head and shoulders above the rest. So for me, like he's moving into a territory that we haven't had. Honestly, I can't think of the last time that we've had a midfielder as good as him, and the ability to kind of just learn from that. I mean, you think about the guys at the Suns that learned from Gary Ablett, even a lot of the Blues players that were pretty shocking and learnt from Judd in the day. And there's a clear link to having good players and getting better as a group. So, I mean, I'm very excited for what this means for the likes of Garcia, for the likes of all the youngsters. Windhager is one that it seems to come across to me a fair bit. He's learning a lot from having a close, good player that's a close friend. So I'm very excited by this. 4 inside 50s a match is insane, especially when you spent a lot of time defensively getting 4 and a bit intercept possessions as well. So
yeah, and he had three or 4 shots today as well. Anyway, he kicks 2 of them. He kicks 2 of them. We win the game.
I think you're right. Actually, I think he had 3
0-3. So he kicks 2-1. We win. He kicks 3 straight. We win. So,
yeah, he got 4 shots on goal. So, mate, he's so close to being that matchmaker, and like he already is. But
yeah,
you get another year. Like I think we got last year. I think we got a couple of goals out of Naz. It wasn't much. Most of his shots missed. This year he's gone at about a 50-50 clip. If he can kind of do that incremental jump again and starts getting more goals than missing, I think we're looking at a player that's just genuinely next to impossible to stop. So
yeah, unless he gets cramped.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that'll stop him.
100%. I was very scared that was like
you were shitting yourself, mate.
I was like, so scared. Like just that little bit of when you see a player just kind of turn as they're hitting the ground, then grab for a knee, my brain just goes, oh no, like just worst case scenario. So I'm very, very thankful in what happened there. But yeah, it's been a wild year. I mean, look at Mateus. he looked great for a little bit there, but I mean, just has had absolutely terrible run with injury. Again, hurting himself. So it's been a tough one. It's been a tough year. I feel like we've gotten through the worst of it, and a mental load has been lifted not only from the fan base, but probably from a lot of the players as well. And I feel that a lot of footy is between the years, like a lot of footy is between the years. And if we can get a better headspace, making it easier to make decisions, you see better results from it. So I am, like you mentioned towards, I think a few times in the stream, I'm very excited for next year. Very, very excited.
How could you not be? Like, I said that in my review as well. I was like, if you finish that game and you're miserable and you think sack Ross and we've got you can't rate players in a loss, then I'm like, you can't be helped. You can't be helped. Like,
100%.
There's not much more. I mean, winning the game is a short-term sugar hit. Like, really? Like, we go up one spot on the ladder. Funny thing is now we can bid on Dean and piss off Carlton. So that's the hilarious thing.
It's true.
And hopefully, we'll do the right business that we want.
Well, that is a question. I mean, I posed this earlier in the stream, and we've had a bit of chats off stream about this. In terms of what do you think we should do now, draft pick wise? Like, if we wanted to go for a big player that immediately impacts us, maybe not to the Nas level, because I'm putting him in the top sort of 3 players of the league, and I don't think he's third either. So it's he's maybe we're probably not finding somebody to that level, but if we were to find somebody that came in, gave instant impact, say in the midfield, or use this year's draft pick to get a mid that might develop, the next few years, next year, hopefully, we're not in the bottom 8, so maybe that first draft pick's not as good. And likewise with the year after that, we're seeing Tassie come in, and so our first pick, if we continue to improve, might be in the 20s. So
it won't be worth much.
I guess the question I pose is, if we had the opportunity to get a great player in one more through the door that we have to pay via draft, or keep the 3 draft picks that we have, what do you think is a better route to go at this point of our list management?
I mean, I'm just thinking we need to jump quick to retain Naz and retain a few other boys. So if there's someone in the market available, could be swayed, makes us stronger, I would be willing to get rid of them. I think we'll get Fincher. I think there's probably a couple others there that maybe we can maneuver a pick to get, and then the rest is just in-house development. Yeah. No, actually, Will, you just bloody reminded me, mate. I gotta eat because I'm starving, but then I'll get stuck into him because it's gotta be time. I've got to think about what to do. I just don't know how to execute. I feel like I could just say you're wrong and just get stuffed, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, almost just post a pick of the ladder and tag him. Like, you almost don't need to say anything.
That's genius. Yeah, that's genius. And I'll get people to tag him too.
Yeah, legit. Yeah. And I think if you really wanted to go face-to-face with Cornsey, it is outside of SEN Studios, just rock up with a mic, wait for him to walk out, and just do the interview. It's one of those catch him at Adelaide Airport situations. So
yeah, that's not a bad idea. Kane, any word on your prediction from earlier in the year? Just
what do you think's going to happen next year for Port? Can they get better or not? Is it too late? Is Butters gone?
That'd be amazing.
It could be. And
that's
speaking of,
my night.
That's it. And getting back to that top 3 picks, if it were a Butters, I would personally be putting those 3 picks on the line and just getting it. Like, if you're getting a player to that level of quality, I'd get rid of our first this year. I'd get rid of our first next year and the year after. Now that we have the ability, if you were getting somebody to a Zach Butters sort of level to add to this midfield. So I think I think it's time to buy all in. Like that, you see it a lot in basketball. It's you think you're at the point now where the team's going to get better, so you just add as much to it as quickly as possible because, hopefully they just get better a significantly, quicker rate than you expected maybe a year or so back. So, I think it's time to buy. If we were Geelong, it's time to give away plots of land. It's like, it's that time. It's that time.
Careful.
So, well, yeah, I won't say too much. But no, it's all in jest, obviously. And yeah, I think it could be a really good year come next year. It takes maybe a 15 or so % improvement across the board, and we should be pushing for that, sort of top 8, top 4 area. So very,
100%.
very excited. Very, very
pumped.
excited.
I'm pumped. That is my food. I have to let. I can. I'll stay on for a bit, and I'll just let it in.
Yeah, no worries at all. No worries. I'll remove you from the screen for a sec, but yeah, go get your food. Getting King on board is a must. Getting him healthy and backfiring would be just amazing. We obviously might get Marshall floating forward more next year. There's the potential of, like a few other things going on. Maybe we move Taru forward with the additions that we get as well. So, I mean, forward line is looking amazing if we can get it all working. And that's a big if. St Kilda's kind of in a new stage, I'd say personally. But yeah, it's a big if. Things like King getting his body right is a must. Philippou getting his body right is a must. Just the development in continuing to happen is a must. So I mean, this is the kind of thing that I've been saying for a while. I genuinely think St Kilda can't improve linearly. I don't think many teams can improve linearly to get into the 8. I think you can improve linearly once you're in the 8, once you've had your jump to a good level of performance. But I don't think anybody just kind of keeps growing and growing and growing until they get to a flag. It just doesn't happen. So, yeah, for me, I'm very excited to see what could happen. We've got another person in the chat here as well, so I'll let Jakey continue to eat for a little bit before he jumps back on. We've got Dorical giving us some words of advice, and Meg, thank you very much for coming past again. You need a late pass. Sorry, I've just finished watching to the watch along. No, fair enough. No, welcome anytime. As you don't have to be here first and foremost. But we do have somebody in the chat. PJ, are you ready to go, mate? Ready to go? All right, we'll get you on stage, mate. And yeah, welcome. How's it all going?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, ready to go, mate. Just getting a bit of an echo.
Oh, okay. Well, look, it does look like you're a tiny bit behind me. So what I might suggest is I'll quickly let you go back and just close out the or at least mute the actual video in the background, because that should get rid of the echo. So give it a second. I'll let you fix that up, and I'll bring you back on. So we'll just quickly go through here. Hoping Pooh's calf was just being a bit overcautious. I agree. Look, if it is an actual calf, we got 6 months to get it right. Hopefully it's not, but we've got a bit of time. PJ, is the echo gone now, mate? How's it going? Give us a thumbs up when you're ready to go, mate, and yeah, we'll get you back on board. All right, I think we're pretty much there. We'll bring you up now, mate. PJ, how you doing?
Yeah, ready to go, mate.
Perfect, brother. I think that was got to be, I mean, one of the better performances we've pulled out towards the back end of the season in a while. I think when the year's gone, we actually did pretty well last year against the Blues, but I often think there's not a ton to play for come this time of year. But the boys actually put it on the line. What were your thoughts on today, mate?
Yeah, it was a great game. I mean, personally, I think they fought it out to the end, which is really impressive. Yeah, quite a few things were impressive with some of the players there, especially Darcy Wilson. He stepped up and basically, yeah, with his few goals that he got. So, you know, I was just looking forward to, you know, just an improvement over the last few games or 4 or 5 games, basically, where we can see a bit of a game plan, a bit of a system going forward to next year. So, but overall, I was pretty happy about it. Obviously, I think the forward line is a bit of a concern to me, which it always has been all year. I know King's out, I realise that, but if he does come back and you know, it all works out next year, that'll be great.
Agreed.
I'm just a bit concerned about our tall players. We need a lot more tall players in the side.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're, you know, comparative to a lot of the other sides. I think basically they're all big boys, and we need, you know, we need those tall fellows, especially up back and down forward. So, you know, that's a big thing for me. I think 200 centimetres, that's something we haven't had. And I think over the years that basically, you know, we have got rid of a few ruckmen, to be honest, because I've been directing since I was, you know, I'm over my 60s now. So
don't look a day over 20, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I did look younger, but I've aged a bit. But yeah, no, look, overall, great game, and I've been impressed with, you know, a lot of things about the Saints and the way they're going. Yeah, thanks, mate.
I'm very.
I appreciate that, Woody.
No, that's all right. No, I'm fairly similar. I think we played pretty well, and year wide, we've had a lot of worries overcome in some regards. I was quite worried, particularly losing Battle and then losing Howard. But I think Kamanides done a reasonable job and developed at the very least. And hopefully he can continue doing that. Would like to see a bit more out of Taru. I think the last few games haven't been his best. And obviously he's paper thin, right? So would like to see him put a bit more weight on and kind of get the ability to not only just float through and put a fist up, stop the opposition, but float through, take a grab, body somebody out if it is a one-on-one position. So, no, I think there's a lot of merit in what you say. I do think we are attempting to mitigate a lot of those issues, right? With the addition of TDK, Lekalia. Now, nobody's 100% confirmed, but you know, should we get these players, we get the ability to maybe float Taru forward. With TDK, he's not as good as a forward as Marshall, but probably a better ruck. So it means Marshall gets a bit of time to float forward and hopefully kick a snag or two, be that 200 centimetre forward to sit by King and hopefully take a lot of the pressure off King, because Marshall's had a fairly strong body of work for a few years now. He knows how to get into a one-on-one contest and throw his weight around. And I think we've all wanted to see King get a bit more of an ability to get up the ground, use his length and running ability to really just be that linking chain that we've missed throughout the entire season. That sort of contested mark on the wing and taking it further into the half forward and full forward positions. We haven't had that contested ability throughout the year. So I think you're very correct in what you said, but I am hoping that the list management team and the players that we've been linked to come through and make the changes that you've mentioned. So I hope there's good news on the horizon in that regard, but I do think you're pretty much right in a lot of things that you said. But what's been your favourite part of the season, mate? Is there obviously there's Naz getting him signed on board and the explosion in form. But yeah, what stood out to you this year positively?
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Yeah, look, that was pretty exciting. I mean, obviously, we need superstars, and that's something we had to do. We obviously had to go forward and not lose players, good players, and basically. But overall, I think to me, it's always been putting the young kids in and giving them a go. I think we've been too reluctant in the years gone past to just keep playing the same old players, give them a game day after the day. Look, I've seen the Butlers getting games with Ratton and things like that, week after week after week. Not being informed, let's face it.
Mhm.
So, that's been
Very agree.
disappointing. I just, bringing the new kids, it's a new era. I think that's the way everyone's going.
Agree.
And, that's things that I want to see. And I think it's going to happen now. And that's the way it should be. Yeah, look, just improvement. I just want to see improvement. I suppose Ross's game plan, what his system is. He's been there 3 years. I want to see something. I mean, I've been through the Ratton eras. I've been through, all the coaches in the past, and I've seen all their game plans and this and that. And I know we've been down for a long time, but that's all I want to see. Basically, it's just the improvement of the young blokes. It's good that TDK is coming in. I know it's a lot of money, but I think that'll help us. Um, and I just hope that King gets up and has a full season. But we also need a backup, I feel, for King. So I'm not sure what's happening with Moose, but I'd like to see him get a contract at least 1 year. And Dougal Howard, that's great that we've got 1 year. But if he goes down, who's going to back him up? He's 200 centimetres, and I think we need someone there.
Yeah,
So,
I think you got a lot
but
of good points.
overall, I reckon, it's been an improvement this year. So we're building. Slowly but surely, we're building. And we're getting
Definitely.
a few signings coming in. So we're not irrelevant anymore, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Bang on, bang on. No, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I'm of the opinion that I don't think Dukes will get many games next year. I
Yeah.
think he probably will be the backup to Caminiti. But I think that's just as you said. It's playing the kids. Like while Dukes might have a few things that he's better at than Kama, he's also quite a bit older, and next year might be his last year, particularly if he does have, as you said,
Definitely.
more injuries that take him down for the season. So I think he'll be put to the VFL mostly, not asked to do too much so he doesn't hurt himself. And then yeah, if we do require him because we lose, say, Kama, maybe Alir or whoever, right, goes down, we have him there backed up. But you are right. I think there needs to be a little bit of investment in that regard. I'm hoping we get all the names over the line that have been mentioned throughout the media and whatnot. So yeah, it's looking positive. It's just about do we like keep moving towards what the script is saying and what the general tea leaves are kind of saying in that regard. Is it going to keep kind of going the way we think it might? But who knows, mate? That's the brilliance of this league and what might happen in the future is what gives all us Saints fans hope. And I mean, there's probably been a little bit of over the too much loyalty, maybe too much strength through loyalty in some regards from us, but it's that sort of hope that keeps us Saints fans coming. So, mate, I'm very excited for next year, and I think you bang on the money with a lot of the thoughts. And look, I just hope we can put all the worries that you have to bed, and we can make next year a very exciting year for Saints fans.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, it's been a long road. Obviously, growing up down at Moorabbin back in the 80s,
Yep.
and also Waverley. I went to pretty much every game in Animal Cage when it was back in the old days.
Yeah.
Um,
I think my dad got me
Mike-
down there when I was quite young as a little tyke. I think I was still forced to be in his arms at that age, and,
I
and it
mean,
might have been dangerous not to have me in his arms, to be honest. The
Yeah.
floor down there wasn't
pretty
great.
wild. It was pretty
But
wild
no,
back then. But,
I think we've developed a bit more into a professional football club in my lifetime, more than kind of the camaraderies of groups having a kick around that we had once upon a time. But no, look, I want to thank you very much for coming in today, PJ.
No worries,
I might
mate.
quickly go over some of the game again, so feel free to stick around. And look, I'll say goodbye to you now, but we'll be back next year as well. So come back and say hello, and yeah, love to chat with you more.
No worries, Woody. I appreciate that. And all the best. And go Saints.
Go Saints. Cheers, PJ, mate.
No
Have a
worries.
good one. Perfect. Well, mate, that was lovely. And I will chuck in another link in case anybody wants to come in. Feel free. Jake is off eating his food. He might come back in a little bit, but we'll let him do that in peace. And man, it's been a wonderful, like, it's been a frustrating year. Don't get me wrong, but like I look back on it now and I go, I'm so thankful that we've done a lot of the things that we needed to do. And PJ was bang on it. We needed to get the kids in. We needed to look to the future and develop to get to the point where we are now, where there's a lot of hope. I think at one stage in the year, if we kept doing, as PJ mentioned, if we kept showing the loyalty to the players that perhaps just aren't playing week in, week out, right? Like they're not doing well enough. We had more selection integrity this year than I've seen in previous years. I think the development we've seen has been better than we have in a lot of previous years internally as well. So this has just been a great one. I will mention that Jake, I think, is going to bail now because I think he's got a little bit of work to do himself. Right, we've all got a little bit of work here, but I'll get the thing back on board, and we are going to quickly just go through things again. Oh, Lord Almighty, and yeah, just kind of double check today. Maybe do a little bit of the year, and then we'll wrap it up. So. Feel free to come in, say your thoughts. We will keep the line open if you want to have a chat. Always down to have a chat. But yeah, at this point, let's just make sure we've done everything and everybody's seen what we did this week. Honestly, feel like it'll actually be difficult selecting the team next year, which is always a great thing. I agree. I think there's going to be a few fan favorites that just don't make the team next year. At least not without injury. And honestly, I probably called one or two of them throughout the year, saying that they're on the edge of selection. And I think it'll be very similar next year with the development of more kids, the inclusions that we have. The people that have been on the edge will need to lift their game. There's a couple players I'm thinking specifically, but it's a good time. We've enjoyed ourselves. It isn't time to get on players' backs, right? So we'll leave that until end of year reviews. The players will be doing that in another week or so. So we'll have our own one out once we hear who is 100% delisted or not. But we'll give it a little bit more time before I actually go through my thoughts for the season. But this was the disposal for the match. We lost it in every regard. We did win the inside 50s and used the ball pretty well, having half of our inside 50s resulted in a shot on goal. Now, I don't think we actually got 25. We were a little bit short there. Two shots either fell short or missed entirely. But fair effort. If you're taking, if you're getting at least 50% of shots, you'll be close to in it, provided you get enough inside 50s, which is why we were close today. We had more inside 50s. We just didn't quite go at a better rate. And yeah, look, we could have used the ball a little bit better, but we were also facing an opposition that used the ball pretty well. Would have been nice to see them underneath their season average, as we've had a bit of an issue this year with our opposition using the ball particularly well. We just haven't been putting on enough pressure. I think this first three quarters, we definitely saw that, and we'll move down to the pressure sort of rating stuff now. Tackles, we were up at 3/4 time. Tackles inside 50. We've been up all day, but they got about 3 or 4 in that last quarter. So did kind of lift it a fair bit there. And likewise with 1%ers, we were leading fairly significantly going into 3/4 time. And they definitely lifted their game there. Now, if we look at marks, this is kind of where they also got in front of us at the end. We were I think we were ahead actually at 3/4 time for both marks and marks inside 50, or contested marks and marks inside 50. They also just, when they needed to find a bit of time and refresh, they did take that mark, away from the contest and hold it up a bit more than us, which is why they had more time in possession, particularly in that last quarter and the final 10 minutes. And most of it came from winning that inside contest, because we were up at 3/4 time, and then moving it to the outside, which we never got ahead for the game. We also turned the ball over more than the Giants in that last quarter, which didn't quite help, right? So fell into some bad habits. Unfortunately, we didn't get much in terms of hit-outs, and hit-outs to advantage weren't a particularly better story. Marshall did all right by himself, but again, he's probably not a tap to somebody else type. He's almost an extra midfielder, a really tall midfielder. We were behind in clearances, which we'd been ahead or even throughout the match, and it really came down to centre clearances at the end. They also got ahead or caught up in stoppage clearances, which got them over the line. So that's it's been a little bit frustrating. We just kind of didn't quite get the job done in that last quarter. It was still a fairly good effort in terms of time in advantage. We didn't have anywhere near as much, but it was really come that moment where I won't say too much about the umpires, but there was some odd things going on. Now, moving on to yearly stats. So I'm going to quickly get rid of that one. We're going to look at some yearly stats. Okay, give Toby a pat if he wants a pat. No, he's out the door. All right, he's going to go out the door. Or just stand and look at me, one of the two. We'll see. Now, I'm going to bring up the Wheelo stats so we can see how we rated throughout the season and throughout the year. Give me one moment. So we'll start with team stats, and we will share this tab instead and pull it up. So I need to zoom in on this as well. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now, if we look at this year, this is pretty much our season, right? We can look at opposition averages, differences if we'd like. And if you want to use this, go to WheeloRatings.com. I don't think there's any AU. No, there's not. I just go to WheeloRatings.com, click AFL, and you'll have a lot of different things to look through. Now, I think we start off with some of the inside 50s, right? This has been an issue throughout the year. We are sitting below 50, which is about 51.5, which is the yearly average this year. It's a little bit below that, though not significantly so, right? So there's an extra 10% on the average, and you'd be at the very top. So not terrible. Could have a fair bit of improvement. Rebound 50s, we're doing all right there. And if we look at the rebound 50 rate, that's probably where we're having a little bit of issues this year as compared to last few years. We're just not rebounding it as much as we used to. Probably don't quite have the defensive prowess that we had in the past, particularly with the youngsters taking over for Battle, Howard, that sort of stuff. If we look at meters gained, this has been a bit of an issue for us throughout the year as well. I believe that's the right one. Nope, it's not. It's hard to say. It's right behind my camera. And then, yeah, meters per is also kind of similar. Now, I don't think they're terrible things. I think it really comes down to, are you going towards goal or not? So let's have a quick look at the threat rating. As a general, we are getting better. We sit at about a 1.15. The AFL rating apparently has been rounded up to 1.02, so a little bit off there, but basically where you want it to be. Retention rating is going to be an interesting one. It's funny to see that as a 0.83, but yeah, we'll look at retention rating. I guess it's lifetime, not this year. Anyway, so we're sitting pretty good in threat. Retention, pretty dang good. And that has changed throughout this year. When we were down in form, it wasn't like that. It just wasn't. We were pretty bad. So I think there's a lot of improvement that's happened in the back half of this year. What that means for years to come, we'll see. Now, this is where I think we generally want to see. One other thing I want to quickly do, timing forward half has been an issue for us this year. Timing forward half, being more threatening with your footy, retaining the footy. If you can kind of do those things, you're giving yourself a really good chance at winning the game. Now we went to the contest a fair bit this year, so we'll quickly look at our possession types. Kick rating. So if we look at contested possessions, pretty low, right? Uncontested possessions, not bad, So really comes down to if we could start winning our contested ball a little bit more, and we're talking an extra 5-10%. We can improve again on this, and again we look at an extra 5-10% there. We're looking towards the very top. In terms of total possessions, we're a bit above average, but not a ton. Intercept possessions is where it's been an issue for us this year. We just haven't done a lot, and if we look at opposition averages, I'm going to try and find intercept possessions again. We just have a lot against us. Actually, less than I thought. Interesting. So we're doing, it must be intercept marks. Yeah, intercept marks, we're one of the worst. So that's where we need to get on top of things this coming year. I've said this to Jake and a few other people. The first possession, right? If you win first possession, which we're not terrible at, and you win the intercept possessions, which we're not terrible at, but we're not amazing at either. Intercept possessions, opposition, they don't get tons more than us. But intercept marks, right? Intercept marks, particularly intercept possessions, less so. First possession in general, and first possession to clearance and center and stoppage clearance. Look, that's going to be 75% of your scoring in terms of AFL. You win those stats. That's 75% of scoring in the game. Getting your first hand on the ball in the contest, turning that into a clearance, using that clearance correctly. If you don't, getting the ball back on an intercept possession, particularly intercept marks, so you give yourself more opportunity to use the ball correctly. That is 75% of scoring in all of AFL. Now, this is excluding hit-outs to advantage, because I mentioned this earlier, I don't think they are great in terms of I just don't think they're real score launchers. I think it's very rare that a hit out to advantage is the reason that a score or the launch of a scoring chain is the actual. I find the hit out to advantage is rarely it. It's more often that the player sweeps through to a ball that's bounced off the ground already and is able to just pick it up on the run. And while that is a hit out to advantage, I feel the midfielder does a lot more in that regard. So. Excluding hit-outs to advantage, if you look at intercept marks, to a lesser extent, intercept possessions, first possession of the footy, and turning that into an effective clearance. If you don't, the other thing you kind of want to pay attention to pretty heavily is going to be time in forward half, and then retention rating and threat rating. So if you can start winning those sort of stats, you're unlikely to be out of the game. And we've done that a lot in this second half of the year, which has, got us over the line in games we haven't played well against, opposition that perhaps is playing a little bit better than we expected. We're probably a bit down in form. But when we were playing the top 4 teams and or top 8 or so teams and losing those matches like we did today, we're only a little bit off in terms of like what we need to do. We're probably 5 to 15% in terms of a total team output away from kind of what we want to see. So I think we're really on the right track. We are. I've said for a while that linear improvement's not going to get you a flag. I've mentioned it today. I don't think we're on track for linear improvement. I genuinely, we've had some linear improvement this year. But improvement when you go like Adelaide, when you go from a side that, it's getting better. And last year people picked Adelaide to get into the top 4. They had a season that was worse than they expected. They ended up lower down the ladder, got a kid that, could help them long term and, a reasonable draw in terms of games. They're suddenly the best team in the league. Now, that's not going to happen every year. But these incremental improvements, they'll get you up the ladder. and you might not always get up the ladder actually from it, but it really comes down to the explosion of form. Once you get 5, 7, 10 or so people that are all doing that 5 to 15 or so % improvement year on year, that's quite a huge amount of in what it reflects in the game. So I think we're very close to that. I've been picking it not next year, to be honest. I've been picking it for the year after for a while, but I mean, the good vibes around Naz, the potential inclusions of TDK, Aaliyah, a few others as well. I know that there's 1 or 2 that aren't in the media that we are pretty heavily linked to. So if you are expecting the names that you've heard now to be the only names that come to St Kilda, I can pretty categorically tell you that's incorrect. So I would be very excited for what might happen next year, and I think all Saints fans should be. It's been a tough year in a lot of regards. It's been a mentally taxing year. Definitely not the results we would have wanted, but I think we've become a better side for it. So look, we could go through a lot of these sort of things here in terms of what the team's good at, what they're not good at. One thing I would like to see, Crumbs, get a bit better at that. We're about AFL average. Would like to see an improvement there. Likewise with hit-outs gathered. And if anybody wants to know why we're getting TDK, this is the goddamn reason why we're getting TDK. We are the worst team in the league at hit-outs gathered. And I'll tell you why that is. It's because we don't get hit-outs to advantage. Marshall is a good footballer, not a great ruckman. Not a great ruckman. Now, we are the best in the league in terms of sharking hit-outs. We are the best in the league, but that'll happen when you're the worst at actually getting your own. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's something we are getting, or hopefully getting TDK for. Marker inside 50 rate, not bad, right? Pretty much on par, a little bit above. Would like to see us actually getting it inside 50 more often. Marks inside 50, a little bit low, but we do have a good rate there. So it basically means just get the ball further up the ground. We need to get a few more goal shots. I think that was. We mostly need more goal assists. We're about out on average, but look, the best teams, they share the footy and they share it well. So yeah, that's going to be one of the big things. I mean, we've been all right this year in a lot of regards. I think defensive side of things has been issues. If we have a quick look at chains, yeah, not terrible. A little bit below the season average. D50 to forward 50. That's been an issue. We're about 10% or so behind the top teams in the league. D50 to score, not too bad, right? So a lot of it is our actual movement, getting it into 50. If we can actually get it inside 50, we're not terrible at scoring. We're not terrible at marking. We're not terrible at all these things, but it's actually just, it's just getting it there. We're a couple of steps away from getting where we want to be, but yeah, it's looking closer and closer. I think if we get some of the names that we want, Liam Ryan, I'd be very excited to get, to be honest. I think Higgins played well up the ground today. I don't think it was amazing, but I think he got more of the footy, got involved. We've seen that Liam Ryan has had the ability to go into the midfield for years now. So I think those two rotating would be great with Maxi Hall, potentially Sinclair off maybe the forward line, maybe the half back line. But I think we've got a lot to work with, and it's not been our year, but positive vibes, positive mentality, less pressure into next year. As you know, we've got a lot of the demons off our back, a lot of the monkey off the back sort of stuff happened. So I'm excited to what might happen next year. There'll be less pressure in some regards. There'll be more in others. And if today is anything to kind of go off, if we could get back to kicking near 100 goals a match or 100 points a match, we'll be in it. We'll be in with a fair chance. Now, the presser has come out. Josh, just watch Ross's presser. He mentions in terms of our young defence, he goes, I think I'll drink from the fountain of youth, hey, Kane. which is, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, I think Howard will probably move into that sort of backup role going forward. And we probably just see Caminiti. I do think Caminiti and Howard, I think there's like 3 or 4 centimeters difference in height. Pretty sure Caminiti has longer arms though, so I'm pretty sure he jumps higher than Dougal as well. So I think if anybody's going to be able to defend bigger players longer, it's probably Cammer. So I think Dukes probably moves into the backup role, and we keep the defensive youth going. Jake has mentioned a few times that he thinks that we might get to see Taru forward. I'd like to see that as well. To be honest with you, I'd just like it to see him be a swingman next year. I'd honestly let him at points play on the wing, a la Matthew Richardson, if you're at my age. Or many of the taller wings that we get. Wood is one of them that we have. So yeah, I'd like to see that. In terms of final thoughts, as we've hit an hour and probably going over the same things a little bit. There's been a few players that have signed already. Very happy to see that. Love to see the players on board. There's 2 players that haven't, that I really want signed. I really, really want signed. Max Heath was mentioned earlier. I think he's got something. Now, he might end up at another side because maybe another team wants to give us more than what we're willing to keep investing in a 3rd, 4th ruckman sort of thing, 3rd, 4th string ruckman. So maybe he is gone, which would be unfortunate, but I could understand that. The other one that I can't understand, and if he's gone, I'll be so bloody angry with our team management, Ari Schoenmaker. Now, I've heard whispers that he might be gone. I'll be straight up. I've heard those whispers, but I think it'd be very short-sighted, right? Because for one, he has AFL quality skills. Not all of it is. And look, we might have bitten off more than we thought in terms of defensive tall man that can kick it long, that sort of stuff. Maybe that'll just never be him. But if you sat him at a half forward and he took 4, 5 marks a game, around that area, he might be able to kick 1 or 2 of them from there, let alone, setting people up to the actual top of the square. So I think I'd like to see Ari stay around and look, even if he doesn't make it, right? The backup reason why I'd like to see Ari stay around is he's a Tassie boy. When Tassie comes in, they'll have the ability to pick up players from every team. And to be honest, he either makes it into our side, and it's great. We've got this long bomb, tall marking player that goes for whatever, right? Or Tassie might want to pick up a player that's from Tassie, has a lot of potential, but hasn't been able to tap into it, has shown they have AFL level qualities, and we get like a 2nd round draft, something back for him, right? Like, it's 2 years away. For me, we have worse players on our list currently than him, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't keep him when there's almost guaranteed return if it doesn't work. So it'll be frustrating if that one doesn't eventuate and he doesn't get at least 1 year. I would like to keep him around until Tassie stays in, but that's how I look at it. That being said, we're over an hour in. Ross's presser is out, so look, I'm gonna finish off my coffee, start doing some of the last Moorabbin metrics stuff, and yeah. That's basically it. I'll probably go watch the game back at least from about half time. Well, 2nd quarter onwards. That 1st quarter was shocking, but I mean, we turned it around. Otherwise, look, Saints fans, everybody, it's been great. It's been a great year. We're not going to do another live. Look, we might do it for like the draft or something like that. Maybe there's an emergency chat we need to make at some point. Who knows, right? I will mention, keep an eye on the names that are being brandied around. Some of them will be bullshit, 100%. Some of it will be bullshit, but I'm hearing some cool stuff. Look, and that might be bullshit though, But I don't know. Keep an eye out. I think it'll be very exciting off season. I've got a lot of videos coming in terms of not only St Kilda reviews, other teams as well, which helps figure out how St Kilda might do next year. If you want to keep an eye out, we've got a reflection video on my on the preseason sort of stuff in terms of what we thought might happen there. And honestly, I was a lot more correct than I thought I'd be at the time. Like a lot more correct. I picked Adelaide to come second when they were bottom 4 last year. So I don't think I saw anybody else pick them to go top 4. So that was a win. Yeah, I picked the Suns to go in. I did miss Sydney. I thought Sydney would do better than they did this year, and the Bulldogs have done better than I expected them to. I thought West Coast would do better than they have. I thought they wouldn't be one of 5 one-win sides in history. So that was a bit of a surprise. I did think we'd get one of last year's bottom 3 out of the bottom 4. Didn't quite eventuate. I thought Melbourne and Essendon would fall into that category. And look, Melbourne might still next year, but Essendon I did get correct in some regards. They were already a little bit on a down. But look, I'm getting into things when there's a video coming out, so keep an eye out for that. I am going to do this. Well, it's time to, I'm going to have a coffee, then I might go have a porter. I'll get on a Guinness. I don't know. We'll see. But look, thank you very much for coming past, everybody. It's been a great year. Keep an eye out for things in the future. And yeah, can't wait to see you all in the off season next year. Chat more about the Saints, and hopefully we get some more improvements. Maybe we're looking at a top 8, top 4 side. Who knows? But that's been about it for me. I'll see you very soon. Have a good rest of your weekend.